Good to have you on board, everyone here with Zoom, and all of you who are with me on Facebook Live. Thanks for joining. Today we're playing with a paraliminal called Instantaneous Personal Magnetism. Now, the title of this seems a little bit ominous, and people giggle a little bit when they think about it. I have some roots, as you may know, in the human development business, my early work in hypnotherapy. I was a clinical hypnotherapist back in the mid 1970s. And one of the early precursors of modern hypnosis was called magnetism. There was a concept by Franz Anton Mesmer, who would do mesmeric passes with magnets over the physical body. Magnetism back at the end of the 1800s and early 1900s was absolutely fascinating to the world. Kind of like gravity. Nobody really knows exactly how it exists. It's just a natural phenomenon. And so people were quite interested in this. Well, it turned out that these mesmeric passes that Mesmer was doing on people to help heal them was essentially a way of inducing a focus of awareness that would facilitate the natural regeneration of skills, abilities, energies that were within people. So after modern hypnosis was developed, the concept of magnetism was kind of poo-pooed. But there is this idea, some very important ideas that were developed out of this for developing one's personality in what we would call our animal magnetism or our charisma. And so based on that, a system was developed by a man named Edmund Shaftesbury in the 1800s. And I happened to get a hold of a 12th edition of his book from an estate sale, and it's called Instantaneous Personal Magnetism. And this book was published in 1928. Again, it was a 12th edition. It was based on the complete system of Edmund Shaftesbury. One of the key ideas behind it is something that's built into the paraliminal that I did. It's this idea that there is an engine of vitality. And that engine of vitality is the diaphragm. And when we're breathing properly, we're actually building our energy. Now, that's been borne out by science and looking at stress and when somebody is resourceful and when they're not. If you watch a baby breathe, they breathe with their whole body very diaphragmatically. And if you look at adults breathing, most adults are breathing very shallowly with the muscles of their upper chest and their shoulders. And when we're under stress, we have a tendency to hold our breath and we don't get a complete breath. So a diaphragmatic breath using intercostal muscles from our back, the expansion of our abdomen when we breathe, allows the breath to use the full capacity of the lungs. And a lot of modern systems on breath work has been done. A colleague of mine many years ago was in a terrible automobile accident, and she learned something called pranavayu, which is a type of breathing. In the yoga sciences, pranayama, the control of the breath, is the most complete of the 5,000-year-old study of human neurophysiology, anatomy, and consciousness. Breath work is powerful. And this book, Instantaneous Personal Magnetism, really zeroed in on that. So one of the components of this paraliminal, as you listen to it, is about the diaphragmatic breath. I bring some of this into the paraliminal walkabouts as well. Anytime that we can get a very complete breath that will allow us the opportunity to experience the full oxygenation of the body, we're actually building our vital energy. And if we're holding our breath and we're breathing shallowly and we're under stress, we're really leaking that vital energy out. This paraliminal, especially in the metaphor part of the change work, is about two things. One is about determining what magnetic qualities you would like to be able to exhibit in the world. You know, attention, focus, posture, health, radiance, sense of peace and joy and happiness. You know, when you're radiating your personal best, people want to be around you. They see that. And that was what Shaftesbury's system was about, is about being a radiant personality, being a person who has these magnetic qualities. Well, the metaphor that I'm using in the paraliminal, that voice that goes into the left ear for the right hemisphere of the brain, is about establishing a garden. And you might know that where I live in Minnesota, there is a world-class arboretum. And what's distinctive about this particular facility, 1,000 acres, is that there are over 57 unique landscapes that they have created. It is called University of Minnesota Landscape Arboretum. So they take the plant varieties and the particular landscape scenarios in this zone, climate zone, and they build these gorgeous landscapes. So you get a chance to see all the different varieties of gardens, from woodland gardens to rock gardens. The idea is that we're constructing or creating the landscape, but we're also paying attention to those things which create problems, like weeds that are out of place. I've created in my backyard a water garden. So I have waterfall features, 8,000 gallons of water. I've got a more formal pool on my deck, and it cascades down into a more informal set of pools, which is more naturalistic. It's got waterfalls and fountains and all of that. And the kinds of things like weeds in a dirt garden, landscape garden, in my pond, it has to do with maintaining an ideal biochemistry so that we don't have algae blooms or diseases in the fish populations in there. I've got koi, and I also have goldfish that are there. The other thing that can happen is leaks can develop, or splashes could occur where the water's getting out. So that metaphor of weeds or leaks are those kinds of behaviors that you engage in on a daily basis that aren't in your best interest. So what are those things that are leaking your natural charismatic power? I was on a podcast with somebody, and he had quite an interesting facial tic that he engaged in. When I was a kid, I had a lot of those myself. And so those sorts of things detract from one's natural charismatic capabilities. I know a number of speakers, quite famous authors and speakers, that also had those same sort of mannerisms that were detractive. Should it bother us? No, it shouldn't bother us. And it's a detraction of some kind. So what are the things that you may be engaging in that are less than fully appealing when you're presenting yourself, your energies to the world? Think about those. It's your own private journey. Pluck those weeds out, patch those leaks up, get the balance within, build the vital energy that are in your systems. And then what happens is that there's a natural radiance that is your essence that always comes through. Now, because the system is really oriented toward how you appear to the world at large, there tends to be a focus on, modeling somebody who is particularly charismatic. Like the new behavior generator paraliminal, you're modeling those magnetic qualities of another person and then exhibiting those yourself. So there is a goal of how you would like to express yourself, and then there's also the on the backside, kind of patching up whatever leakages may be there for your vital energy. So it's kind of a two for one special in the instantaneous personal magnetism. I hope that you're understanding this whole concept. Every time you listen to a paraliminal, you're really connecting with yourself. And when who we are personally and who we are socially is the same person, then you're showing up authentically. And it is that authentic self, that naturally radiant being that you are, that is being expressed. It's not about, what's interesting, it's not about physical beauty. It's about energy. So I have met people who were terribly disfigured, either by birth defects or by accidents, serious burns or automobile accidents, who are radiant beings. And the moment that you're with them, you get it. So try not to put this into physical appearance. It really is this energetic that we're talking about, your magnetism, your charisma, and how you approach the world and bring yourself forward. That's it. That's what this is about. So for me, the instantaneous personal magnetism is when I'm getting ready to be on a television show or a podcast, or when I'm making an appearance on stage, or when I'm being filmed for a movie. I'm always using this particular paraliminal, and oftentimes in combination with talking to win, or the sales leap, which allows me to think about the overriding communication objective that I want to transmit when I'm on stage. This idea of instantaneous personal magnetism is so cool because it really allows me to feel that energy of who I am being expressed through me as me. It's not ego and it's not persona. It's a different level of energy. And the opening line of this paraliminal is about every atom, every molecule, every cell of your body is vibrating with a natural magnetic energy. The energy of any atom is always a vibrational energy, right? It's vibrating, and every single cell of your body has different vibrations. The vibrations of each cell help it differentiate itself. So the vibration of a kidney cell or a liver cell or an intestinal cell or a cell from your heart or your brain, the different vibrational energies allow these cells that are within you to differentiate and grow into the various organ systems within your body. And when you recognize that there is a perfect integrity, a perfect harmony that's inside of you, that's what gets to be expressed in the world. And wherever there may be dis-ease, a lack of ease or a lack of flow of this energy, that's also something that you can then start bringing this energy to help restore you to the full measure of health and wholeness that you are. Well, that's instantaneous personal magnetism. If it's in your library, give it a listen. If it's not, remember you can get a hold of it. But I just love this one. Oh, I do have a little addendum here. This is really kind of an inside secret about the design of the metaphor. In the metaphor, there is this beautiful school. There's a university, and there is a person, a kind of a greeter who meets you there, who then directs you to where you're supposed to go study whatever class you're there to study. The particular class you go to is to be creative, to go to a landscape and to create a beautiful landscape, an expression that you desire to have. So that's on the metaphor side. But I want you to know that that imaginal university actually exists at a different plane of consciousness. And we don't have much time to talk about parallel fields of energy. You know, if you've ever heard of the idea, oh, I'm in seventh heaven. Yeah, that's a seventh dimensional field beyond the 4 dimensions that we live in. We live in 3-dimensional space and 4th dimensional time. And being able to connect at that higher energetic level, it's pretty interesting. So you're actually connecting with a much bigger life energy that is always informing you. We could say it's your higher intelligence. And I believe our non-conscious mind is connected to the superconscious. So enjoy this. It's pretty deep and it's a lot of fun. Peace and blessings. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you on the next session. Bye for now.